All right, everybody, this is to give you an idea of how to process quotes for clients and how to prepare yourself to go into the home and present these quotes. So right now, we're going to be using a theoretical client. This client's name is going to be Gary. So we're going to go here to our Excel spreadsheet. Gary B. Gary B's age is 55 years old. And for the sake of this particular exercise, we're going to say that Gary B has a very traditional set of medical circumstances. Let's say that he's got high blood pressure and he's taking a medication for high blood pressure, and he's got diabetes and he's taking an oral medication for diabetes. This would not be if he's taking insulin. That's a very different thing. So it's another reminder that when somebody tells you on the phone that they have diabetes, to make sure that we ask them if they're taking oral medication, or to ask them if they're taking insulin, and to ask them if they were diagnosed before the age of 50 or after the age of 50 with diabetes, because those things will cause different rates with the carriers. So let's just say that Gary B is 55 and he's got high blood pressure and diabetes. He's taken oral medication and he got diagnosed with diabetes 2 years ago, so after age 50. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to Virtual Mentor. Inside Virtual Mentor, we're going to say what state we're in. I'm in California. He's 55. He is 6 feet 1 inch. He weighs 211 pounds. He is a non-smoker. We are looking for mortgage protection, term. You can select some of these riders if you want these riders, but most of the products that we're going to be dealing with already have these riders in them, so you don't need to worry about that. And then we're going to go through his health concerns. So he's got diabetes. He was diagnosed after age 50. He's not taking insulin. And then we also want to go to heart and circulatory because he's got high blood pressure. So we're going to scroll down here to high blood pressure. And he's taking one medication for high blood pressure. That should be all we need. We're going to press search, and this should give us a couple different options to look at. So right now, we're going to be focusing on using Mutual of Omaha. I'm going to show you how to quote most of the other carriers in this video, but we want to really focus on Mutual of Omaha. It's brand name. It's going to cover your client the fastest. They have some of the best pricing, and it's going to get you paid the fastest. So since it's so simple, we definitely want to make sure that we're just sticking to Mutual of Omaha in the beginning and then mixing in other carriers as we get comfortable with Mutual of Omaha. So you've already seen from Virtual Mentor in the Virtual Mentor video that you can run a quote directly from Virtual Mentor, that you can get the application directly from Virtual Mentor, that you can look at the agent guide and to make sure that there's no stipulations inside the agent guide that your client would disqualify from the coverage. So what we're going to do is we've gotten a couple suggestions here of Term Express from Mutual of Omaha, Home Certainty from American Amicable, and HMS Plus from Americo. So the site that we're going to be using for right now is going to be this quoting site right here, and you'll have a link to this quoting site. And this has the 4 carriers that we really want you to focus on in the beginning as you're getting started, Mutual of Omaha being the first one. So you can go ahead and click on mobile quotes. It's going to bring you up this page. And remember, it suggested that we look at Term Life Express, okay? So Term Life Express is a simplified issue product that's non-medical. Your client doesn't need a medical exam or to draw their blood or to do an oral swab or an EKG. It's going to be the fastest to issue, the fastest to cover your client, and also the fastest to get you paid. So we're going to click on Term Life Express. And again, I'm in California. This is a male. He's 55. We're going to look at a 30-year guarantee. Some life insurance, just so you know, only has a 5-year guarantee period. So sometimes you'll see 30 with 5 guaranteed, which means that after 5 years, they can change the rates or they can drop the coverage. So a lot of times those are cheaper because the insurance companies are giving themselves an out after 5 years. So it's important for you to see what just happened there. So you can see if I want a 30-year product, the maximum age is age 50 for Mutual of Omaha. So it's telling me, sorry, we can't give you a 30-year product. We can only give you a 20-year or below product after age 50. So we're going to go down to age 20 or 20-year guarantee. And we're going to look at the maximum amount is $250,000. So let's just say that this guy's mortgage was $250,000. Okay. We're going to click calculate down here on the bottom. It's $260.77. So over here on my little list, I'm going to write Mutual of Omaha. I'm going to type in the face amount of $250K. It's a 20-year term, and the premium is $260.77. Now, I'm going to go back, and for the same 20-year term, I'm going to do, let's say, $125,000, or half of that. 125,000 is 133.06. So let's do 125K. We're going to look at 20 years, and it is 133.06. Perfect. Now we're going to go back and do half of this. So let's just call it, let's just do 75,000. 81.97. So we want to go here and do 75K for 20 years, 81.97. Now we're going to change the years, and we're going to go to a 15-year term instead of a 20-year term. And I'll explain why we're doing this in just a minute. So we go to 15-year term, 75,000 since we're already there. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to do 75K. For a 15-year term is 69.29. Then we're going to go up to 125. Still at that 15-year term. It's going to be 111.92. 15 years. Perfect. Now we're going to go to the total 250, which is the whole mortgage payoff for this particular gentleman, 218.50. So we want to go 250 for 15 years is 218.50. Perfect. So now we've just quoted Mutual of Omaha. The reason why I want to go 20 years and 15 years, or if he was under 50, why I want to do 30 years, 20 years, and 15 years, is because if I go in and I present this particular individual 20 years, and $260.77 is just too expensive for him, perhaps I can lower it down to 15, and that would be within budget, where $50 less at 218 is something that's comfortable. Or if he wanted the half mortgage payoff at 125, perhaps 133 is too expensive, but $20 less, getting closer to $100, I can get him 15 years for the same price. Or vice versa, $80 is too expensive for 75K, but $70 works for 15 years. Usually when they're a little bit younger, you're going to have a larger discrepancy in between the prices. So now, just to do our due diligence, we're going to go in and we're going to check Americo. So we can go back here and we can click on mobile quotes for Americo, and it's going to take us to their mobile quoting dashboard. Click on California because that's the state I'm in, but you choose whatever state you're in. We're going to look at HMS plus 125. It's important that you choose 125 for many reasons, but I won't go into those right now. Just choose 125. And we're going to enter in his info. He's 55. He's male. We're going to look at $250,000. And we're going to look at 30 years, 25, 20, and 15, all guaranteed. Again, you'll see Americo is one of those options where you can get them a 5-year guarantee period, but after those 5 years, Americo reserves the right to adjust the rates. So I suggest that you just stick with guaranteed years. So we're going to run these quotes, and America is going to come back to us with all 4 of these years, and it's going to tell us how much it is. So clearly, America is much more expensive, but let's put in our quotes here. So let's look at America. We're going to do 250K, and we will do 30 years is 453.86. We will do 20 years, 25 years, sorry, at 432.49. 20 at 306.61. Then we will do 15 years at 246.76. So if this was me and I was looking at, okay, 250K, right now I'm looking at 20 years at 306. It's so much more expensive than Mutual of Omaha at 260, and I'm probably going to stray away from it. I'm probably not even going to go in and quote 125,000 or 75,000. But just because we're learning how to quote, let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to click Design, and it's pretty simple. We're just going to come back in here, and we're just going to change to 125,000 and run. So at 125K, 15 years is 127.66. 20 years is 157.58. 25 years is 220.52. And 30 years is 231.21. So if your client wanted longer coverage and they were in their 50s and Mutual of Omaha isn't going to give them 30 years, well, we know that Americo will. Obviously, it's going to be much more expensive. We can see a 20-year from Americo at 125K is 133. Or sorry, for Mutual of Omaha. For Americo, it's a 30-year is 231. So it's much more expensive to go to 30 years. But we're getting closer at the 20-year mark. You can see 20 years is 157 instead of 133. So one of the benefits of Americo's HMS 125 is that 25% of the death benefit also comes to them in accidental death automatically. So they get some extra coverage in their portfolio. So for some people, this might be worth it. They technically are going to have closer to $150,000 to $160,000 of coverage, including their accidental, and it's not much more expensive for 20 years than Mutual of Omaha is. So maybe consider Americo for that. So now we're going to go to United Home Life, and I'm going to briefly just show you how to quote United Home Life. Again, we're going to go to the same page here, and we're going to choose the mobile quotes for United Home Life. For United Home Life, we really only want to use United Home Life in particular cases. Number one, if somebody is old and ill and they have some diseases. If somebody is an insulin-dependent diabetic, United Home Life, they can qualify for some of their plans. The thing with United Home Life is that their term products don't come with living benefits. So with Americo and Mutual of Omaha, it's not only going to protect the client if they die, but it's also going to protect the client if they have a critical illness like a heart attack or a stroke, the policy will pay out, or if they're critically injured and they have a chronic illness like they're unable to feed themselves and dress themselves for a period of 90 days, the policies also have a payout option. So with United Home Life, it's death only. So if they die or if they have a terminal illness where a doctor says they're going to die in the next 12 months, the policy will pay out. But the policies won't pay out if they had a stroke or a heart attack or cancer or anything like that. So it's less coverage for people. Therefore, a lot of the times it's cheaper. So if we want to look at Simple Term, that's their product, 20 years, Simple Term 20. And we're going to look at California because that's the state that we're in. This gentleman is 55 years old. non-nicotine, and we're going to look at a face amount. And oh, looks like the max that we can get is 200,000. They won't even go up to 250. So we're going to calculate this, and oh, face amount over 150, not available for anybody over 45. So now we know that anybody over 45, we can't get them any more than 150. So what I'm going to do just to match pricing is I'm probably going to go down to 125, just so we can be talking about the same coverage amount. I'm going to calculate. So 125,000 for 20 years. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to do UHL for United Home Life. We're going to look at 125K, and we're going to look at 20 years. And again, this is the only product that they offer. They don't have a 15 or a 10-year product. Is 167.15. So when we're quoting these products, now we've quoted 3 different carriers, and we've looked at, well, this 20-year 125K is even more expensive than the Americo product that includes accidental death benefit and living benefits. And it's much more expensive than the 20-year 125 for Mutual of Omaha. So in this case, for this 55-year-old man, Mutual of Omaha seems like it's going to be the best pricing, and this is what you're going to be presenting to him. So I put this all together, and I'll print this little Excel spreadsheet out with me, and I'll carry it with me into the home so that when I'm going through pricing, I can give this person options. If they want 30 years and they really want to make sure that they're covered for the entirety of the loan, well, I know I'm going to go with Americo. And I know that with Americo for 30 years at 125,000, it's 231. And at 250,000, it's 453. If they really want, longer term, but they don't have that kind of money, well, maybe we're going to go down to 25 years, and it's 220 for 125. So this way, you can really adjust how many years somebody's covered or how much money they're covered for to find a premium that fits them when you're presenting price. So you're going to keep this in your binder or keep this in your back pocket or write it on the back of the lead sheet, whatever you feel comfortable with, but this is how we're going to be quoting clients. So I then take these quotes, and when I go into an appointment, I'm using this coverage option sheet. And for this particular client, option number 1, I'm probably going to be presenting Mutual of Omaha, 250,000 for 20 years. And I'm going to write it right here, Mutual of Omaha, 250,000 for 20 years. Option number 2, I'm going to go half mortgage payoff, and I'm going to probably do Mutual of Omaha 125,000 for 20 years, and it'll be 133. And then option number 3 is going to be the critical period coverage, and I'm going to do 75,000 for 20 years at 81.97. And from that point, I'm going to ask them which option they feel the most comfortable with. Let them take their time, let them figure out which option they feel the most comfortable with. And let's say that they really want the 250,000, but 260 is just too much money. So this is where we can cross off the 20 years and we can write 15 years next to it, and we can put 218.50 and see if 218 works for them. Maybe they feel comfortable with the half mortgage payoff, but they want longer years. They want it to be for 30 years rather than 20 years. So now I'm going to pull out my little pricing sheet here. I know Americo is going to cover them for 30 years. So I'm going to go 125,000 for 30 years is 231.21. And maybe they feel comfortable with that. In the critical period, we're going to get into this in the in-home presentation of how to present the critical period. We're just going to present a lower option because having some coverage is better than having no coverage. And the impact that having even a $10,000 or $15,000 policy can make on somebody is huge if they have no coverage now. So we really want to use option 3 as a way to just find a payment that's comfortable for them if option 1 and option 2 are just too expensive. So the way that I would present it is go in, present full mortgage payoff and half mortgage payoff, and just present those 2 prices to them only and see how they feel. And if they're coming back to you saying, well, hey, those are out of our price range, then you can go to work and figure out something that's going to fit in the budget for them in option number 3, whether that be a $25,000 policy, whether that be a $75,000 policy, whatever it is, to get something that's comfortable for them. And then tell them that they can always upgrade later. We can always add more coverage at a later date, but it's better to have something now than to have nothing and be vulnerable. So that's how you go through price quoting. And hopefully you guys got something out of that. And it'll make sense when we get into the in-home presentation in the next area.